So much better 2 minutes ago.
Just now, it's not.
One thing I looked at it and I realized the thing I thought I brought, I just actually was like,
I think so.
Do you want me to read it? Do you want me to read it? Because I had that thing down pat, so. It's up to you. Okay. I've read it so many times, like, I kind of know what it works like. Yeah, we can.
has those charts on the program. You know, I had some things like take off the words and then I started at some point we probably should go back to drawing because that's
No, the only, in fact, I just got the engineer status report on those projects, which would have been good to have, you know.
and some of them don't have
They do, but we didn't decide. All I did honestly is I copied those two. And then I put in the ones that I need for this year, and then figured we'll go back and organize it.
Is it, yeah, Third Avenue? Yep.
So I think the one you covered is stage 3, so the album is probably
Right.
but there's so it's
Yeah,
not.
no, and it's just a plan, and when we have finalized it, we'll always amend it again for this year, and then for next year, we'll definitely all have to sit down and say, okay, tell me what you really need to do. I was just trying to get it through. Correct, yeah, this was just to just get it through, that's all.
I'm used to it. I'm used to it.
No, I mean, you shouldn't have to be used to it, but I feel so bad. I'm like, and then I see the attorneys.
I've got a family sign, so we're good.
Love your shoes. Always love your shoes. At first I was like, what? But I got the information.
Yeah, one's for the probationary. I always get a probationary one.
So, I missed your call. Let's get a haircut.
Yes. And James wants to know how to be here.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know why I didn't think about it. Yeah, it was in the chair.
Oh, you.
Right. Well, I was like, just give me a sense. I go. So the one that's
can't hear you.
We're counting down, ladies and gentlemen, one more minute.
Oh, he's coming, he's always running late.
Let's go, Tasha.
Yeah.
Call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag.
I wish to announce that the 48-hour notice is required under the Open Public Meetings Act, was emailed to the Asbury Park Press, the Co-Star, and the New Co-Star on December the 19th of 2024, that a copy has been placed on the bulletin board in the Borough office, and that a copy has been filed with the municipal clerk. As a courtesy to the public, this meeting may be attended via Zoom. If for any reason Zoom fails or is disconnected, the in-person meeting will continue without interruption, and action can and will be taken, providing there is an in-person quorum. Ms. DeNoble? Here. Ms. Greenblatt? Here. Mr. Nowicki?
Here.
Mr. Weber?
Here.
Mayor Gutozzi?
Here. Thank you. Welcome this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for braving the weather. We have a very exciting way to open our meeting tonight. We are going to be swearing in a new police officer here in Bradley Beach, so all very excited about that. And let us begin. In order to do that, the council must approve this hire. So I'd like to make a motion that we approve Resolution 2025-228, the appointment of probationary police officer Gianna Trini.
Second.
Ms. DeNoble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gutozzi?
Yes. Now we'll take the oath of office and turn it to Chief Bond.
Good evening, everyone, Mayor, Council. Tonight I have the great honor of introducing our next regular full-time police officer. But not only that, the second female police officer in the history of the Bradley Beach Police Department, next to Lieutenant Solaro. So I'm very honored. Gianna came to us in 2023 as a Class 1 officer. She did such a good job as a Class 1, but also as a police dispatcher, which is very difficult to do, just to learn the dispatch center. She went to Class 2. She graduated in May of 2024. She's done such a good job over the past year. She's a full-time Class 2 officer. So we just had a hiring process. She came out number 1. So without further ado, Mayor, let me swear her in.
Yes, sir, I would be honored.
So we want to open up the floor.
Okay, this is the oath of allegiance and public office, Borough of Bradley Beach. Please repeat after me. I, Gianna Trani, do solemnly swear
I, Gianna Training, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same and to the governments established in the United States
to the same and to the governments established in the United States,
and in this state under the authority of the people,
and in this state under the authority of the people,
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of a probationary police officer
all the duties of a probationary police officer
for the Bradley Beach Police Department
for the Bradley Beach Police Department
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Sounds good. Camera ready?
Yes.
Thank you. Again, once again, congratulations.
Mayor, didn't you say new officers have to give a 5-minute speech?
Gianna, by the way, did you care to make a comment to your management?
I would just like to thank the mayor and the council for their decision on hiring me. I'm really excited to work here. I'm also excited, thanking the chief and the administration for their decision. I'm really excited to work with everybody, and thank you for the opportunity.
Now, we have about a 3-hour meeting ahead, so please stay seated. Any of Gianna's friends, family, any of our police officers in the back who would like to leave, this is a great time to exit stage right. Thank you again for joining us.
And then there were three.
Okay, for those staying, we are going to move on to item 6 on our agenda, workshops. I'll note in advance, so we're going to move through these workshops pretty quickly. I did ask Ben Matlack to give the residents a quick update on 2 projects in the borough. We're going to move quickly, Ben, in part because I want to get to some financial stuff, so we can have our CFO also lead it in a timely manner. So Ben, the 2 topics, Recreation Center and Main Street.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Bear with me 1 second. Can I be allowed to share the screen?
Who's permission
I've done that
needed?
before.
You need to go to show.
Michelle?
the screen.
From Michelle?
Close to see.
Just want to make sure everybody can see. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay, the first thing I'm going to talk tonight about is the Bradley Beach Recreation Center. Probably recognize this rendering, similar to one that I've shown in the past. We're at the final stages here with the rec center. Wanted to update the council on what's happened since the last time you saw this. So we are essentially done with the design. We met with the Recreation Committee on June 9th. I attended the meeting as well as our administrator, Matt Doherty, to talk to them about the improvements, talk to them about timing for construction, and exactly what we were doing, and to get some feedback from them. One of the things we discussed was the use of the courts, basketball, tennis, and pickleball. From the information I got from them, as well as talking to your public works director, they're all used. People play basketball, people play tennis, people play pickleball. So we want to keep providing those facilities for everybody. We did look at the possibility of adding another court to the recreation center. However, we have limited space. It was not part of our original scope of our grant applications, and there just isn't room to put an additional court. And even if there was, it would further complicate the project because we would be adding additional impervious, would require significant drainage upgrades. So we vetted that out, and it's just not feasible at this point. We did come to a final decision on the layout and selection of the playground equipment and the rubber safety surface. Pull up a slide that shows that. Here are all the components, and I know it's probably a little hard to see, but in the bottom right corner there is the kind of color palette. It's an ocean skate palette is what it's called, kind of feeding into the theme of our town here. So these are pretty much the same components that you've seen before, but we have the final layout, final color selection, the green apple palette for the safety surface was picked. So that's kind of the look that you're going to get, which again is shown on this plan right at the top there. We removed the side keys on the basketball court. It was kind of there were too many boxes on the court, and also the summer camp kids like to use chalk, draw a foursquare or hopscotch. So we want to give that, give it space to be able to do that. That was one of the recommendations of the rec committee. And so at this point, we're complete, ready to advertise this project to bid, and construction would start after August 15th, which is the end of the summer camp. Any questions?
I just wanted to ask about the signage that the display board that we have on Main Street, is that being replaced?
That is an alternate item. It's not, well, it's part of the project, but it's only if funding allows. Some of the playground components are take up a majority of the budget, not a majority, but a large portion of the budget. So we have certain items such as the sign, a shade structure, seating area that are alternate items to be awarded if the budget allows. They're not shown on this plan because I don't want to show anything that's not necessarily going to be installed.
And Ben, just for clarity, we had already ordered the equipment through the state purchasing agreement,
Correct.
and so that's already, so that will arrive in time, or we already have, it's already.
It's on order. We're awaiting confirmation of when the shipping date will be.
So this contract would be the award of the constructor, and the equipment is being provided by others.
Yes, and it's all incorporated into one project. The equipment is installed by the state contractor's certified installer, not necessarily the contractor who would be doing the site work on the park. But there are coordination efforts that we do when we have that. There's certain language we put in the contract to ensure that site contractor allows timely schedule and room for the state contractor's installer to put the equipment in.
And the project costs have varied up and down. I know our DPW's volunteered to take on a lot of the paving work that would have cost $60,000-$70,000. But I know some other prices, materials and so forth have increased. Roughly now, where do we expect the total project cost between grant funding we're receiving and bonding we may do? What's the total cost of the project, roughly?
It's roughly about 600 to 625,000. We're trying to keep it in that range. I know that in order to maximize our grant funding, we have a Monmouth County Open Space grant for 265,000, which is a 50-50 match. And in order to get that full 265, you have to pay at least 50% of that, which would be another 265. So we're trying to maximize that, but also keep it within the budget.
Well, that 265 times 2 is 530.
530.
And you had another 70-ish?
74 is the local recreation improvement grant, which is going towards the purchase of the playground equipment.
Okay, so that gets us upwards of 600,000,
Yeah.
a little over 600,000. Okay, the playground equipment, can you describe, is there toddler and older children equipment? Is it split 50-50? Or just roughly what are we planning?
Yes. Hold that slide up again. So the large piece of equipment, the play structure in the top left corner is for age groups 5 to 12, but it does have some small components on the left and right side there. Particularly on the right side, next to the Ladybug, is like a small piece of play equipment that's geared for younger children. Then the individual pieces, the Ladybug, the Flower, the Duo Spinner, those are for kids of all ages, young kids as well. They can use that equipment, climb on it. And then we have swings and sway benches, which are quite popular with younger children.
And when you mentioned the 600,000 or so cost, I know a decent chunk of that is actually going to be spent on drainage, and it's not all on playground equipment.
Correct.
Can you just overview what other larger components to spend?
Yes. There are drainage improvements being done to the playground, because right now, if you go out there, it's a kind of a big lake in the rain. And then there's the repaving of the courts. That's a big component of the project. We're also redoing the fencing in order to save some costs. We're reutilizing the existing fence posts, which are in good condition, and we'll redo the fencing, the wire mesh that goes around all the courts.
I guess my last question for you on this project is more of a comment and ask you to in turn comment. We've had a tremendous amount of discussion from residents, from within the key stakeholders on this project, the rec board, the director of recreation and so forth, regarding the role of pickleball. Like, do we strike the tennis court? It's currently striped with pickleball courts. Do we continue to do that, or do we isolate it only for tennis, or isolate it only for pickleball? Similarly, questions have been asked about the basketball court. You just mentioned that we've tried to remove some of the lines there. Can you tell us, or can you tell the audience roughly how that final decision came to be?
Yeah, it's based on the usage of the courts. It's based on providing a space for your residents to play all these sports. Right now they're currently being utilized as both tennis and pickleball, and we want to continue that. We don't want to alienate one group versus the other, pickleball players or tennis players. We want to allow them to all utilize the court and have a place to play.
Related to that question, I don't want to be accused of asking a new question. discussion also about possibly using pickleball lines on some or all of the basketball courts. My understanding is basketball courts are probably utilized a lower degree than pickleball. What was the rationale there?
Well, part of it is that if you're going to do that, you have to install new fencing around the basketball court, and that would interfere with the hoops. So it's not as easy to combine basketball and pickleball into one court. That would add additional cost to the project, it just would not work as well as the tennis and pickleball combination.
Any further questions for the council?
Just one more. In the previous meeting, I believe a resident had questioned an area about, I wouldn't want to say ADA compliant, but it was a difficult area to traverse steps, and or
Yes.
was railing going to be included, something to aid or regrade out that area, and you were going to look at that. Could you just comment on what that resolution was?
Yes, there's so a couple of steps going down from the pad, and I'll pull it up on the screen. Right in this area here. There's steps going down from the path to the tennis courts. It's about 2 or 3 steps, and there's no railing. We will be replacing those steps, installing a railing so that it's easier to get on the courts.
Thank you.
I just wanted, this project needs to be completed by a certain date.
We had a deadline to utilize the local recreation improvement grant of September 15th, I think was the date, and by purchasing the playground equipment and the safety surface through state contract, we're able to submit for reimbursement on that grant before we even start construction. So that's how we're doing it. That way we don't have to wait until construction is complete to try to get reimbursed.
So when does this project complete? What is the anticipated completion?
It's probably about a 60 to 75 day contract, so August 15th to about end of October.
Okay, I'm going to hold public questions until Ben completes the second presentation. And then normally we don't have public questions after the workshop, but Ben, to take advantage of you being here, we'll open up questions.
Okay. So the next one is Main Street, and I don't have a presentation for Main Street today, but I do want to give you a quick update on what has happened since the last time I was here. Your administrator and I met with a representative from Housing and Urban Development, branch of the federal government, to discuss the requirements for the grant funding. There's a lot of paperwork associated with receiving money from federal government, so we have access to a website to their HUD website, and we're beginning to fill out the forms that are needed and go through those steps to ensure that the funding is there when we are ready to start construction. At this point, we are advancing the design. We have been working on grading the sidewalk, the handicap ramps. We're looking at the different components, the aesthetic components for Main Street. Specifically looking at the different options for pavers, street trees, the street lights, and benches. These are all the major aesthetics that we're looking to design and kind of coordinate so that you get a cohesive look throughout all of town. As you know, we're designing the entirety of Main Street, not just focusing on one component or one section, so that you have a cohesive design. And based on my conversations with the mayor and your administrator, and based on the amount of funding we have, it's most advantageous and makes the most sense to start in one section and do a complete streetscape. And I know that Mr. Weber has been involved in the early meetings involving Main Street, and that was discussed that we would like to do maybe one component or two components along the entire length. But as we're getting through the design, we don't want to have to duplicate work. For example, installing a bench on existing pavers and then having to remove it to replace the pavers, and then putting it back risks damage to certain things. Regrading may result in having to re-pour concrete foundations and things like that. So it's better to do everything you can in this one section at a time and work from there.
Is there any discussion on which section that would be at?
We did have a conversation that it's potentially starting in the middle of town and working our way north. Maybe not far from right here in front of Borough Hall or Riley Park, and working towards the northern part of town.
So when you indicate doing certain sections, I mean, I guess the first thing would be the paving, right? I'm just thinking of the process.
So the street wouldn't be paved.
Not the
but
paving, but the
sidewalk
hardscaping.
you're talking about. Yeah. So the pavers are actually the kind of the last step that you want to install. You have to get all of your amenities, your lights, your benches, all the utilities set first, and then the last thing is putting the pavers down. And not necessarily, you may put a bench on top of the pavers or something like that, but the design has to be all done at one time. The construction done at one time.
So you're not talking about like a block, let's say, and putting all of the lighting and the lamps in and the benches and then the pavers and then moving to the next block and doing the same? Is that what you're suggesting?
So the initial project, utilizing your $1.4 million that you got, maybe, I don't know how many blocks, 1, 2, 3 blocks, and doing that portion soup to nuts as one project is kind of a phase 1. The next phase, depending on additional funding received, you could get the same 1.4 million, you could get 2 million, you could get 500,000. And depending on that, we would do the same soup to nuts on the next block or the next 2 or 3 blocks, whatever the funding was.
So all of these various contractors that do the work, electrical, let's say, for the lighting, aren't they, I mean, isn't it more expedient for them to do that whole stretch at once?
Ideally, yes. It's economy of scale. If you do the entire project as one big project, it's expensive up front, but it's cheaper than doing 5 different phases. However,
So it's because of funding that we're doing sections, so we're not
Yes.
really able to do what we had anticipated hoping to do.
sure, yes.
On that note, Shauna, you're hitting the nail on the head. One of the things Mr. Matlack explained to me was, as we apply for future funding, it will work to our advantage to, one, have a vision for all of Main Street, and CME will deliver that, and then to be able to kind of parcel it into pieces to, apply for it, $500,000, $1 million, $2 million in grant funding as we go forward. So, as you just said, Ben, we can expand or contract the next phase 2, phase 3. But it's just neater and easier to sell our vision and our development to date if we do it, in complete pieces.
Yeah, and grant agencies like to see phased projects. They can see the progress on phase 1, so that it gives them more likelihood to fund a second or a third phase.
Any other questions from the council? Comments? All right. Again, an unusual knowledge that I will exercise here, and that is to open this up to public comment or questions of our engineer while he's with us, on either the rec center and or Main Street. Any questions? Mr. Cohen?
Sure, Mr. Melick. The Thomas Coyne, 612 Third Avenue, the wire mesh fence, will it be, what color will it be? Will it be black? Will it be stainless, green?
The current fence is green. I would expect that, in my mind, it's a green fence utilizing the same color that you have now.
Okay, we'll consider black.
We could do black. It would require painting all of the posts though, which, if they're not done, if they're not factory painted, the paint doesn't last
Right, let's
as
do
well.
green then. That was
Yeah.
good medium. The greenhouse is not a component of this project in any way.
Correct.
In terms of the pavers and design, I respectfully disagree about the pavers. I think they should be last done. Street lighting is old, and there's definitely been technology enhancements over the years, also design-wise. I think that is something that needs to be done immediately. And also, I purchased benches for $2,500 that I'm told are gonna be the benches, because I'm not changing. So I just want to clarify that that's the case.
We have not gotten to the point where we have selected the benches yet,
But that's not
the-
what I was told. I was told that there was a committee, they agreed on the bench. I agreed to buy the first two in front of Hatch 44 so the public could see what they were. And I said, that's the bench.
Mr. Cohen, I don't think Mr. Malik knows the answer, but clearly the goal would be to continue to utilize that, that you work with the BBVCA and
I followed all the rules.
we all understand that final decision hasn't been made yet,
I know that there was discussion during the initial meetings that the BCA would try to purchase the benches for this project. So I haven't been involved in what they've been doing. So if they've made a selection, they've already started purchasing them, then that's great.
but for the record, no design decisions have been made yet. The BBVCA has at least indicated they might make an effort to do fundraising to support the benches, but we're just trying to give everyone an update of where things
Okay,
stand, and that
yeah,
decision is.
again, the updates are when you can adjust and change to make sure.
No, we're aware
Okay,
of the bench.
great. Thank you very much, Mr. Murphy.
Yes, sir. Come on up, Rick.
Rick Bartolome, 116 Newark. Just a thought, if the work is gonna start on August 15th, you still have a lot of people here for the summer season. And then the kids are still gonna be wanting to utilize the basketball courts or the tennis courts and so forth. I was just wondering if anyone had thought about maybe delaying it until maybe after Labor Day?
Dennis, have you talked timeframes with contractors and so forth at this point?
Not yet. The project still has to be publicly bid, and once we do that, award a contract to a contractor, we'll discuss schedule. The main goal was to make sure we waited until after August 15th. I don't think it impacts the project if we wait another 2 weeks to after Labor Day.
Is the magic date August 15th tied to summer camp?
Yes.
So on that note, we ran into an issue on sewers for Fifth Avenue because of bonding schedule and how we're able to have to put certain things in place before we actually were able to begin construction. Is your schedule of August 15th have enough time for that whole process to make sure we have everything in place to be able to begin construction?
I'm not privy to the finances of the borough, so I can't answer that.
I
That's
believe-
more of a
I believe
question
we did a
for-
bond issuance already, a bond ordinance.
I'm not sure, that's why I'm asking. That's all right.
We'll confirm after the meeting, but at the end of last year, in December, well, before you were on the council, we had bond ordinances for all these projects, really, rec center, Main Street, the promenade, so I think a total of $10 or $14 million.
Okay. I just want to make sure we have
Yeah,
that.
no, great question.
we're not doing as well. We don't have all our ducks in a row on a particular project. I just want to make sure we are doing that proactively so that we're not being driven, communicate by the schedule that we can't meet because all of a sudden it pops up that something wasn't in place. So
Yeah.
just verify these things with the engineer's schedule, the construction schedule, with the clerk's schedule, with the CFO schedule. And Matt, you need to do that. So I would appreciate if we could just do that better.
I emailed your CFO and your purchasing agent earlier today with all the lists of projects that we're working on that are upcoming. So they're aware of what grants we have and what the cost estimates are, and roughly timeframe of when we would be trying to go out to bid and award these projects. So we're working to make sure that is recovering all our bases.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
And I think that, as per Rick's comment, we can set when we want to do the construction. So let's set that and then drive the schedule to what the community needs, not necessarily reacting to a process, but let's do what best suits the community.
For the first time, then, make sure you've sued the community. I think you're doing a great job. I think CV's doing a great job. I know, Paul, I know you feel that way. And most importantly, you're coordinating a lot of different projects. We're not even talking tonight about a couple of the other projects, including the sewer pump station, the promenade, Sylvan Lake. So if I have any concern at all, it's that we're giving you an awful lot, and as long as you stay on top of it, we will be very appreciative. Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Can you, I know, can you undo this sharing so I can also
Yes.
see who's, I have questions on the big screen. Mr. Sharp, did you have a question?
Actually, my question was addressed. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions in the room or comments? Yes, we do have a hand. Who is it?
Eileen Shishius.
Eileen Shishius, you have a question or comment?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Okay. I noticed that there was a white, it looked like a white building next to the tennis court and the basketball court. What is that?
That is the storage greenhouse that exists there today. That's going to remain. It's not part of this project.
Can you explain to me why that is still there? It is an eyesore and it interferes with the whole aesthetic part of this project. Please explain how that can take place.
Eileen, I can help. Ben's following the guidance that we've been given with the grant funding received, and the grant application we made did not include that part of the property. It was really focused on the playground, drainage issues we had. For example, it really isn't focusing on the soccer fields and the baseball fields either. That's not to say we're not aware that that is a challenge and something we need to address. It's just not part of this scope.
Is that potentially going to be a hazard for the children or anybody else there? That building is not in the best condition. Is that going to be a liability?
We'll make sure the property is safe. It's just, we can only do so much at a time and.
I understand.
Yep, but we'll make sure the property is safe.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is that it, sir?
That's it.
Thank you, Ben, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to item 7 on our agenda, which is the approval of the minutes. I'll make a motion to approve June 18, 2025 council business meeting minutes.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose?
Yes. I'll make a motion to approve June 18th executive session meeting minutes.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubatose?
Yes. For anyone who's noticing Ms. DeNoble struggling with her voice, we are very fortunate that she was able to join us at all today, but she is battling a cold, and thank you, Council President, for joining us by Zoom.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for explaining myself.
Now stop talking. Okay, item 8 on the agenda, we'll open it up to public comments or questions pertaining to everything on tonight's agenda. Comments or questions? Yes, Ms. Karen.
Okay, Beth Kepler, 504 Central Avenue, Bradley Beach. I'm here tonight to address Resolution 2025-236. It's the troubling matter that continues to cast a shadow over our community. The $123,000 settlement justifiably being paid to one of our police officers to make him whole after his alleged mistreatment by former Chief of Police Leonard Guida and enabled by the corrupt ex-mayor Larry Fox. This settlement should serve as a stark reminder of the damage inflicted by their leadership. While we all wish to move forward and leave the era of Larry Fox and Leonard Guida behind, unnecessary payouts like this force us to confront their lasting impact. Just imagine what $123,000 could have done for our small community: improved infrastructure, enhanced public services, investments in our parks, or just a cushion in our general fund. Instead, it must be used to rectify the wrongs of an administration that failed us. Worse still is that this is not an isolated cost. Another even larger lawsuit looms, threatening to drain our resources further, all because of the actions of a corrupt municipal government under Larry Fox, Leonard Guida, Kim Humphrey, Meredith DeMarco, Greg Ferenbach, and others. These are not just financial burdens, they are painful reminders of a time when our town's leadership prioritized personal gain over the public good. As we approach a critical election cycle, we must keep these uncomfortable truths in the spotlight. In just 6 months, the Gubitosi administration and this council have made remarkable strides in restoring integrity, fiscal discipline, and real progress to Bradley Beach. We cannot allow their hard work and momentum to falter. The proposal to change our form of government in November risks undoing this progress and opening the door for the return of those tied to the old corrupt regime. Political opportunists do not rest, not even during the beach season. And make no mistake, they are already scheming to reclaim power. Therefore, I strongly urge every resident to stay vigilant. We must vote no to changing our form of government in November in order to protect the positive direction that we've fought so hard to achieve. Let's honor the sacrifices made to right these wrongs by ensuring our leadership remains accountable, transparent, and committed to us, the taxpayers of Bradley Beach. We literally cannot afford to let history repeat itself. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the public? Mr. Glenn?
Thomas J. Cohen, 612 Third Avenue. Mayor, I'm just wondering, we have the CFO here, on that same issue of the resolution 2025-236. Was this $122,000 in the 2024 budget, or did you have to put it in the 2025 budget?
It's in the 2025 budget.
But it was not, but it came from the previous administration.
Correct.
But it was not accounted for in their budgeting for 2024.
That's correct.
Okay, great. So, the tax bills come out in August or so.
Yeah.
Can we just do a line item so we can keep track of this? What the Leonard Guida tax is to the borough of Bradley Beach? This 122 plus whatever comes forward with the other lawsuits. I mean, I think that number has to be out there for the public to really see. And just to get a scope on it, how much is 1% of the 2025 budget approximately? Is it 90,000?
Of the budget or our taxes?
Of our taxes.
About $90,000.
So it is about 90,000. So basically, this is like 1.2% of our taxes. A little more, okay. Thank you for settling this and getting it past us. I know we have more to do, but let's not forget about the Leonard Guida tax. Let's put it right on. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the room? Anyone on Zoom? Okay, seeing no further questions, we'll close public comment and move on to number 9, ordinances. We have an introduction this evening, as I'll remind everyone. Thank you, Ben. There will not be public comment now on the introduction of the ordinance. But this ordinance is a bond ordinance to help us fund some of the sewer work that Councilman Nowicki referenced earlier on Fifth Avenue. I'll read it to everyone. Bond ordinance 2025-19, bond ordinance amending in part bond ordinance number 2023-08, adopted on June 14th, 2023, providing for sewer improvements along Park Place Avenue and Fifth Avenue in order to increase the appropriation therefore by $500,000 for a total appropriation of $1 million, and to increase the authorized bonds and notes to be issued to finance a portion of the cost thereof by $250,000 for a total debt authorization of $725,000, and to increase the allocation of the appropriation to cost permitted under NJSA 40A:2-20, authorized in and by the Borough of Riley Beach in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey. And just as a reminder, if anyone hasn't been tracking this, at the very end of last year, December of last year, as this references earlier in last year, in June of 23, I'm sorry, 23, I guess, yeah, there was a bond ordinance adopted. And the reason for that was to do sewer work on Fifth Avenue. The reason we're changing kind of midstream, and it's had a number of delays, is because that original ordinance anticipated lining of sewers on Fifth Avenue, and this council had a very strong commitment to not line and effectively kick the can down the road our sewers. We would like to continue, as we've done in phases 1 and 2, to replace our sewers. And when you line sewers, and my engineer colleague to the left knows this much better than me, but you also do not fix the laterals when you're lining the sewers. And laterals are a big problem of our sewers, and they incur additional risk and liability to our residents who have to cover any malfunction of those laterals. So we kind of stopped midstream. We had appropriations in place, not enough, however, when you move from lining to replacement. So that's what we're about to vote for as an introduction. And I will make a motion that we introduce bond ordinance 2025-19.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
Thumbs up, Jane? Yeah, there we go.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubitosi?
Yes. Okay, now I'm going to switch gears for a second, just to be courteous to our visiting CFO. Thank you, Jennifer, for staying as long as you have. I'm going to ask in a moment to make a motion to move a resolution up. The resolution is 2025-237, and what that resolution is doing is amending our 2025 capital budget. But I'm doing this just in case our council might have any questions. I will make the motion that we address and vote on resolution 2025-237 next.
Mr. Noble? Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubitosi?
Yes. And for the record, I think Councilwoman Greenblatt's winning 5-1 in seconds. Okay, so any comments or questions from the council about this amendment to our 2025 capital budget?
I had made previous comments and they were addressed, so thank you. I am looking forward to looking at this capital program for 2026. And I think that's really going to, really advance and take a look at what our needs are going forward over the next 3 years, and in particular for 26. Because it's two parts. It's a 3-year plan, and then what are we doing each year? And so looking forward to that process.
Any other comments or questions, council? All good? Okay, with that said, I will make a motion that we approve resolution 2025-237, the amendment to our 2025 capital budget.
Mr. Noble?
Second.
Yes.
Thank you, John. Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubitosi?
Yes. Okay, back on track to ordinance 2025-20. Our off-street parking, driveway, and loading requirements of chapter 450 zoning of the borough's revised general ordinances. Ladies and gentlemen, you may recall that a month or more ago, a little over a month ago probably, we introduced this ordinance, and that's why it's now up for adoption. However, over the last couple of meetings, we've tabled this adoption because we did have a hue and cry of concerns raised by residents and businesses on Main Street. Essence of this is we were taking away parking spaces in Borough Hall that I strongly feel we need to utilize for Borough Hall employees. However, we were doing that potentially at the detriment to some of the customers of our businesses, because customers of our businesses have been parking in our parking lot, or the municipal parking lot. We are very close to working out some of the kinks, and we may have a better solution than the original introduction. I should know more about that. In fact, I hopefully will have a definitive answer about that tomorrow. However, I couldn't get the answer in time for tonight's meeting, so I am going to make a motion that we table ordinance 2025-20.
I think you
What did I do?
for introduction.
Did I do the wrong one?
You went to the adoption.
17.
We have to do 21.
Oh, I jumped to 17. Okay, well, I've explained 17, so I'll make a motion that we vote out of order, just so I don't have to do that again. I'll make a motion that we vote on I'll make a motion that we table ordinance 2025-17. Pardon me for explaining the wrong number.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubitosi?
Yes.
Thank you.
So now I have to find out what 2025-20 really is. Oh, okay, yes. Ordinance 2025-20 is an ordinance impacting chapter 450 of our zoning that would basically allow ribbon driveways. Currently, we have language in chapter 450 that I would say is a little ambiguous. It doesn't specifically allow or not allow ribbon driveways. Ribbon driveways typically have two cement pathways with grass in the middle. And our ordinance has language that basically says there are things you can use and can't use as long as they don't create dust. And so you can certainly get into some confusion, especially if you're a contractor and or a resident building a house, as to whether or not a ribbon driveway is allowed. We have many of them in town, and my understanding on this in particular is that this is just trying to clarify our zoning, chapter 450, to make sure it's clear that we do want to encourage and allow ribbon driveways. Any comments or questions from the council?
I would just say that a highlight of that also is that ribbon driveway, if you implement one, you need to sprinkler it as well. It has to be hydrated, so that way the grass doesn't die and become a dirt mound. So that was something that's a highlight in that ordinance as well.
Any other comments or questions from the council? Okay, again, we will not have public comment until we are ready to adopt. I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance 2025-20 as amended.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubitosi?
Yes. Okay, ordinance 2025-21, this is amending chapter 160, construction codes, uniform certificates of occupancy of the borough's revised general ordinances. Effectively, what this is doing is increasing various UCC fees, uniform construction code fees, borough permitting fees, all related to construction, that basically have not been updated for 20 years. Any comments or questions?
That was actually conversation that you and I had, because I was wondering why we were doing these increases and what they were based on. And once again, we were just really updating after 20 years is really significant, and it's on par now with comparable with other communities.
You can make a case that it's much closer to par. Maybe we may not even quite be there yet. But we were trying to, in the world of municipal budgeting, you know, we have departments. One of our departments is code enforcement. One of our departments is, you know, you name the departments. One is construction. And we pay salaries for construction. We have costs related to construction. our fees should cover our costs. They are not covering our costs, in part because we have not been updating our fees for 20 years. I checked cumulative CPI over that period of time. Thank you, artificial intelligence, 65% increase. Most of these increases, if you eyeball them, for 25, 20, 35, some are as high as 50, few if any are above 50, and CPI's increased 65%. So I think these are reasonable to get us back in a competitive position so we can afford to provide those services to the community. So any comments or questions beyond that?
Taking care of that.
Little by little. Okay, I'll make a motion that we introduce ordinance 2025-21, increasing construction codes and construction fees under our code.
Second. Ms. DeNoble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubitosi?
Yes. We've already covered 2025-17, so we will move on to communications. Two communication topics. One is 319 Lorraine, and in particular, as many of you are aware, we're in the middle of the demolition process. Our business administrator, Mr. Doherty, has been on top of that from the beginning. Nat, would you mind giving the public a quick update?
Yes, ma'am. So the parsonage next door, which is commonly referred to as 317, has been completely demolished, and its debris has been removed from part of it. Earlier this week, they started the demolition on the church itself, address 319 Lorraine, and they're starting in the back corner and working their way towards the corner itself. They worked yesterday, they worked today, and tomorrow they're not going to be working purposely on July 3rd, 4th, and of course on the 5th or 6th. So they'll resume again on the 7th. But right now they are on schedule with their adjusted schedule. The asbestos removal took a little bit longer, but we thought it was important to get it done right as opposed to get it done quickly. So they are making good progress. Some of the feedback we've gotten from residents, very useful feedback, was they do a very good job of keeping the dust contained during the demolition, but we need to do a better job of keeping the dust contained when they're loading the trucks with the debris. So during the demolition process, they're out there with water, just keeping everything tamped down as much as possible. So we're now going to use that same methodology of spraying it with water when they're loading the debris itself into the trucks to be carted away. So far so good. We're doing as good a job as possible communicating with the public, noticing the most up-to-date information on the website, and for individual residents who are adjacent to the property, who are interested in knowing what's going on, we're communicating maybe not every day, but at least multiple times a week with those residents.
One of those is a council member.
Well, one of them is a council member, yes, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. The other communication is Fifth Avenue. We've touched on this a couple of times already, but Councilman Nowicki, do you just have a quick update on timeframes for completion?
Yes, I spoke with CME earlier, and so basically the award of the project will officially be done on August 5th, with construction beginning August 25th, and then ending somewhere by the end of October or November 1st timeframe. We may be able to expedite that a little bit, and maybe start a little bit earlier. We're trying to discuss that with the contractor. Our original intent was that this project was going to be under construction from the end of June until the end of August, while school is out of session. Because Fifth Avenue, as most people know, jobs right there at hand, right around the school. And so we were trying to minimize the impact to the school, loading, kids walking, that type of thing. So this is going to be pretty tight to do anything because we have a week before school starts, September 4th. But CME will be coordinating more directly with the school, with the principal, and trying to make sure that any of the logistics there of what's going to happen is coordinated and mitigate anything that we can. And perhaps the contractor could do something with that Hammond Street in advance early on versus starting down at Madison. The project is going to go from Main Street, replacing the sewer of Main Street, down to Hammond, turn corner, continue down Fifth Avenue, down to Madison. That's the stretch that's going to be built this fall. The resurfacing contract, so that's going to be put in the sewer, and then a separate contractor will be putting down the pavement after that. So that pavement work would happen in November, theoretically. Hopefully, the weather will be such that we can get the pavement down and not have to wait to finish it in the spring. So that's why we want to try to expedite this thing a little bit sooner, so this thing doesn't carry over to 2026. So that's one. And then also, just so everybody's aware, the other piece of Fifth Avenue from Madison to Ocean Avenue is under design right now. And so that design work will be completed here through the summer, and then we're looking to advertise that and go to construction on that probably early fall. So hopefully we can try to coordinate these two contracts very quick, better. So maybe that same contractor who's finishing up the first phase of this Fifth Avenue could possibly be more aggressive on the costing for the second phase if he knows that's coming and he doesn't have to remobilize. So we need to talk about that and see how we can expedite that design and coordinate that and make sure that we have all the pieces lined up so we can do this when we need to do it at the best timing for the community. Communications are going to be happening on this. We're going to be sending out a letter to the residents along Fifth Avenue, as well as perhaps walkabout, knocking on the door, and then the contractor will ultimately be directly coordinating with the residents once the schedule starts to get definitive on what pieces he's doing, when he's doing it, as we get closer to the construction. So that's the update.
Can I ask, Paul, is it possible that that once the sewer portion is completed on phase one, so from Main to Madison, and then they'll begin the surfacing, is it possible that while they're doing the surfacing, we may even be able to start the sewers going forward from Madison heading east?
To Ocean,
Yeah.
that's possible. And again, it comes down to making sure that we have all all our ducks in a row. The design is done, permits are in place, the bonding's in place to complete that work. And then the surface grants are through DOT, which is separately, and we have those grants in place. So that money is available for us to finish and complete that resurfacing work.
Can they do the sewer work in the winter time?
The sewer work they can. It's the issue is going, and concrete work we would typically you can, but it's the pavement, it's the bituminous that is more sensitive to temperature.
So, I mean, our goal, as we know, is to complete all of Fifth Avenue before next year's summer season, or next year's real season begins.
Yes, Fifth Avenue.
So we should be able to
Fifth
target
Avenue will be completed, yes.
Yeah.
And then we're looking to see how we can move on with the rest of the sewers as part of the capital program. And Ocean Park being probably the high candidate. A piece of Park Avenue is also in this mix, which I forgot to mention. Park Avenue between Fletcher to Madison is potentially going to be part of this project as well. Park Avenue was done from Main Street to Fletcher, but and that's where they stopped it. And then there's potentially the ability to do that next block from Fletcher to Madison and Park, depending on how the bids come in.
Very good. Any other comments or questions from the council? Okay. Moving on from communications, item 11 is resolutions, starting with our consent agenda resolutions 2020-229 through 233. Are there any of these that you would like to comment on or vote out separately? Okay, hearing no.
Actually, for the consent agenda, Mayor,
Yes.
I just want to make a comment since they're all the same. They're all about outdoor cafe licenses. This is great. I love it. It's one of the things that makes our town cool and quaint and whatever. However, I just want all of these businesses to be aware that there needs to be enough room on the sidewalk for like ADA, Americans with Disabilities, so a wheelchair can get through. And I'll be honest, I don't know if it's 3 feet or 4 feet or whatever the code is supposed to be. That needs to be there. And there's other stuff. There's trees. benches, there's all sorts of other things. I just want these businesses to be cognizant that it's one of the things I'm going to be talking to our code department about. If there's not enough room for a wheelchair to get down our sidewalks, they're going to hear about it regarding their outdoor cafe. So hopefully everybody just does that proactively and we don't have to have any conversations further. But thank you for that.
And Councilman Weber, you can't see it, but Chief Arnold is nodding his head vigorously yes. Our police inspect these setups as well, correct, Chief?
Yes.
So they're not going to set up anything that the police don't approve, John?
Yeah, no, I understand. It's just, chairs get moved and people the customers, it wouldn't be our people, but just so if the businesses can make sure they stay that way, that'd be terrific.
Without any further comment, then I will make a motion that we approve consent agenda resolutions 2025-229 through 2025-233.
Second.
Mr. Noble? Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubitosi?
Yes.
And I saw you, Councilwoman Noble.
Moving to individual resolutions, item 2025-214 is awarding a bid for Newark Avenue concession. Any comments or questions?
Just a quick comment. I'm glad that we're getting a concession in place here ASAP because of the holiday and on the north side of town. We really need to have that in place.
And additionally, it will be more than just an ice cream truck. So there will be food, morning and afternoon, and they've designated the hours that, food and ice cream will be served and accessible.
And I would like to comment that this is a great process because we heard from residents and that's why they're getting more than just an ice cream truck. And just want to thank, I know this was a ton of work, this one, for the administrator and for the mayor, and there was a lot of back and forth. And so I really appreciate you all getting it to this point, so thank you.
Okay, great. Without any further comment, I'll make a motion that we approve 2025-214, awarding a bid for the Newark Avenue concession.
Second.
Mr. Noble? Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubitosi?
Yes. I'll make a motion to approve 2025-234, approval of a lien redemption refund for 509 Cave Avenue in the amount of $3,056.77.
Second.
Mr. Noble? Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubitosi?
Yes. Okay, 2025-235 probably needs a very brief explanation, but so the public knows what we're looking at. It is authorizing the retention of David F. Bauman, JSC, retired, and that's a judge who is retired, of Bressler, Amory, and Ross, PC, to serve as hearing officer to decide an appeal of an outdoor premises expansion permit pursuant to NJSA 40:55B-166. Mr. Kenny, can I ask you to provide a very brief overview to the public of what this is about?
Yes, has been discussed at this meeting a number of times. PRC's Tavern applied for an outdoor premises extension permit, which was granted by our zoning officer in accordance with the new section of the municipal land use law. And an interested party, a resident, has appealed the issuance of that permit, as is their right. And it could be up to, under the statute, the governing body to decide that. But rather, this is a new process. Rather than have, a hearing here, which really takes on a, neighbor versus neighbor sort of context, retired judge will hear all the parties and decide the matter in lieu of the governing body, which is also permitted by the statute. Judge Bauman was the presiding civil judge of Monmouth County, worked in all 4 sections of the county, as is respected by his fellow judges over there in the event that the case goes there. And this is in the vein of making sure that everyone's treated fairly. Judge Bauman doesn't know anyone. He actually asked for the address to Royal Hall, so he can come conduct the hearing, which will be open to the public. And that's how the governing body has elected to handle it. As you guys know from our discussion in executive session last week, that is the action result of that. which is to make sure that the most qualified person we can find treats the residents and the business owners fairly and makes a decision.
Thank you.
You want to just let them know, time? please?
So on Monday at 10 a.m., Judge Bowden will hear the parties, and then we'll render a decision by the end of the week, next week. So everyone gets a prompt, which is also required by the statute, but gets a prompt result. So
Monday, 10 a.m. here in this room.
yes, sir.
Thank you. So without any further discussion, I'll make a motion that we approve 2025-235.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
I have a quick question for Craig. Can I vote on this even though I have a conflict? I live within 200 feet.
If you can, I think you can vote on this. This is a professional service appointment to decide the issue for you, since that's another issue that you raised. There's two governing body members that live within 200 feet. Another reason why we want to have a neutral, well-respected third party come in and decide it. So I believe that you can vote on this because it doesn't materially bear upon the application or your opinion on it or anyway. It's just to hire someone else to make sure that it's decided properly. So I don't think you have a conflict, Mr. Noble.
Thank you. I will vote yes.
Okay. Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubitosi?
Yes. Item 2025-236, authorizing the settlement of pending litigation before the Superior Court of New Jersey, Monmouth County, entitled Hingston versus Borough of Bradley Beach, docket number MON-L-3790-24. Any comments or questions on this? Hearing none, I will make a motion that we approve. Well, I'll make one quick comment. This is approving a settlement. This is not accepting blame by the borough. This is not anything more than the two parties saying, we don't have to battle over this anymore. We'll be somewhere in the middle. So with that said, I'll make a motion to approve 2025-236.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubitosi?
Yes. Item 2025-238 is the bill list for July 1st, 2025. Any comments, questions? Katie?
No, I actually had a question. Well, when I was reviewing the bill list, I was, again, I'm looking at all of the CME charges because they're so busy right now. Whenever there is, and I guess CFO Larison is not here, but whenever there is a bill that gets paid now for services that were rendered and approved in a previous year, if the money was encumbered in that previous year, is that the money that's drawn from to pay for those services, or is it kind of this current budget?
If it was encumbered, it's drawn from the prior year's budget. The way municipal government accounting works is any under expenditures, and that would be an under expenditure as of that year, but it was encumbered and expected to be spent in the future year. You wait 1 year and those under expenditures either roll into your surplus through margin, or they get used up as you just said, as additional expenditures. Okay, so if no other questions, I'll make a motion that we approve 2025-238, the July 1st bill list.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Noble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mayor Gubitosi?
Yes. Item 12 on the agenda, announcements, there are none. Item 13A, the point we all anxiously await, administrator report, Mr. Matt Doherty.
Mayor, it pains me to let you down. I have no report. I just want to wish the public and the governing body a very happy and safe 4th of July. Hope to see everyone on Monday with all 5 fingers on each.
Thank you, sir. Item 13B, mayor and council reports. May I start with Mr. Councilman Weber?
Sure thing, Mr. Mayor, and thanks everybody for letting me zoom in. Isn't it great? Greetings from Long Beach Island. I was going to say it was sunny and beautiful today because it was. I heard you had a little bit of rain up there. but none here. But as luck would have it, about an hour into this meeting, it started raining here. So what do you know? Still beautiful. It's just wet. Really quick couple of items. The Environmental Commission, their July meeting is next week. It's on Monday, so we will have that meeting, and we will likely talk about and maybe even put a date on a knotweed removal for July. I know everybody had so much fun in June. It's back by popular demand. We're going to do it again, and that is to keep this invasive Japanese knotweed at bay. Our instructions are what we learned is if you cut it 3 times during the summer, it's really a shadow of its former self, and it's much easier to possibly fully eradicate. So we're looking to do that, and that's of course the Maritime Forest. Sorry I missed the celebration in the Maritime Forest. I saw the pictures. I'm sure it was great, so thank you everybody. I'm sure there will be an update on that. And besides that, I would just like to say congratulations to our new police officer, Gianna, probationary officer. So welcome to the force. And that's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Council President DeNoble, if you are able to mutter a word or two.
So
I gave my report to Shauna.
right, so I'm
So
actually.
you don't have to listen to my
I
voice.
was trying to, in case you had any thoughts. Council.
So, but again, congratulations to Gianna too. It's lovely.
Councilman.
Very good.
Okay, Bradley Beach Police Department, we had several cases to report. Israel Martinez, 18, from Bradley Beach, was arrested charged with being an unlicensed driver and several motor vehicle offenses as a result of a hit-and-run motor vehicle accident. Sergeant Michael Tardillo and Patrolman Sean Johnson investigated. Members of the Bradley Police also responded to a water rescue calls in Ocean Grove and Avon to assist the Answer water rescue team after lifeguard hours. All beachgoers are reminded to swim only when lifeguards are on duty. At 5 o'clock, our guards come off, so do not swim or you're swimming at risk. The police department also investigated 7 motor vehicle accidents, conducted several motor vehicle stops for various motor vehicle violations during this period. Bradley Beach residents are reminded that Saturday, July 5th at 9 p.m. will be our annual 4th of July fireworks display. Residents should expect traffic delays and possible traffic detours in and around Bradley Beach for this event. It's not our intention to disrupt traffic, but with all that load, there will be police directors out there moving the traffic around, making sure there will be people out of town after the fireworks. The fire department, for the month ending June 30th, the fire department charged 12 day calls, 4 night calls, for a total of 16 calls. 8 were fire alarm activations, 1 was a smoke condition, 2 were carbon monoxide alarms, 2 were EMS lift assists, 1 was an animal rescue, 1 was an odor of natural gas, and 1 was a sparking overhead wire. The department conducted training on engine pump operations, hydrant operations, and air pack use. The department participated in 1 community event, the BCA food drive. There were no requests for mutual aid from other fire departments. The department fulfilled 100% of our assignments for this operational period, and happy to report that the department received 1 application for a membership as a firefighter. We're still looking for more volunteers for the fire department and offer free training for qualified individuals. Anyone wishing to volunteer, you can inquire through the borough's website. First aid for the operational period ending July 1st, the squad responded to 14 day calls, 9 night calls, for a total of 23 calls. 15 were for medical, 8 for fire calls. 7 calls were also water rescues. In total, calls for June were 51 as opposed to 39 for May. Beach calls were also up for May, which were 0 in June 13. The squad conducted 1 drill for the safety and education of the membership. The squad requested no mutual aid for this operational period. It fulfilled 100% of the assignments for this period. We're still looking for volunteers for first aid. We offer free training for qualified individuals. Anyone wishing to volunteer for the first aid squad, applications are also on the website. And then on the Sylvan Lake Commission, I just want to report that you may see some painting out on Bradley Avenue of some markouts. That's the project that is associated with the bulkhead, the wall replacement. that's going to occur sometime this spring, 2026 spring. But those markouts are for utilities so that they can map those. And there will be some equipment in the near future that they will be doing some borings where the wall is going to go along the grass median of that along the lake to do sampling of the soil behind the existing wall to get structural design criteria for the new wall that it will be designed. So you may see some activity out there here over the next month. So that's my report.
Thank you, Councilwoman Weaver.
Great. So I'll share my report first, and then I'll move on to President DeNovo's report. Council President. The Arts Council met this past Sunday evening for a brainstorming session. This was the first in-person meeting and an opportunity to plan ahead for both 2025 and 2026, with many exciting ideas to entertain and educate on the arts in Bradley Beach. In partnership with the Bradley Beach Library, the Arts Council is hosting a children's art workshop entitled Color My World, Tuesday, July 29th at 4 p.m. for students in grades 2 through 6. Registration is required. Please go to the library's events calendar. Mark your calendar for a porch pop-up arts exhibit, August 23rd, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the James Bradley. A call for artists will follow as the council prepares for a celebration of local artists in Bradley Beach. Please check the Arts Council webpage and borough announcements. The next Arts Council meeting is scheduled for Monday, July 7th at 7 p.m. Recreation has not met since our last council meeting. Summer camp began this week, yesterday. The first day of camp was a huge success. Camp will not run on Friday, July 4th, the 4th of July, but they are ending the week on Thursday on a high note with laser tag and rolling video game trucks. Mahjong Open Play runs every Friday, 1 to 3 at the Biazzi Center. The Summer Bocce League runs from July 8th to August 14th. The program has 3 sessions, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings at 6:30 p.m. Space is still available for Tuesday evening. Registrants can come as a team of 2. Registrants must come as a team of 2. Go to the Recreation website to sign up. Radio Bingo will once again be held on August 2nd, 6 p.m. at the Fire Hall. This rec event is co-hosted by the Ladies Auxiliary of the Bradley Beach Fire Department. The last Radio Bingo was a packed house with music of the 70s through the 90s and lots of fun, so be sure to register. Also, be sure to check July's Salted Soul Yoga program, which can be found on the rec page under Beach Yoga with Salted Soul. The Recreation Board's next meeting is Monday, July 14th, 6:30 p.m. at the Rec Center. I was just advised that the Recreation Board will not be meeting on Monday, July 14th. They are canceling that meeting because of summer camp. So, my correction. The Fletcher Lake Commission has not met since our last council meeting. The commission will be looking to determine the best way forward to evaluate any effects of the lights on the aerators with one set initially. They'll be engaging with our Environmental Commission and CLONET, Monmouth University's Coastal Lakes Observing Networks, including outreach for guidance with other area lake commissions. Further, the commission will be working more proactively with CLONET to participate in water sampling as part of an area assessment of the health of our coastal lakes. Commission member Bill Grafton will be the liaison for this effort. The next commission meeting is scheduled for Thursday, July 10th at 6 p.m. And now for Council President DeNovo's report. There was only a Board of Ed meeting since the last council meeting. There was not a tourism or a shade tree meeting, and so therefore no reports. But Jane will bring her Board of Ed report at the next council meeting. But she did want to share something very special, and without her voice, I'm going to take on the voice of Jane DeNovo, and I'm going to speak in the first person because I really want to articulate what Jane wanted to say. You listening?
I'm all ears.
Okay. A big congratulations to Mayor Kubitosi on reaching his 6-month mark in office. It's truly impressive to see how much has been accomplished in such a short time. We've seen the union contract settled for our borough employees, The demolition and sale of 319 Lorraine officially begun. Wheelchair accessibility brought to our beaches with wider Moby mats, accessible showers, and designated drop-off areas, and new cashless beach parking meters with the Park Mobile app. In addition, our budget has been approved, a financial analysis and plan was completed and implemented, and the 2024 audit is underway. We've begun collecting development fees for our Affordable Housing Trust and successfully submitted round 4 for affordable housing requirements. We are also moving forward, upgrading our sewer system with grant funding. Many new sources of revenue and initiatives have been implemented, including shared services and updated traffic fees and fines. A financial task force has been formed and is already in motion. The focus on efficiency is clearly evident. Thank you, Mayor Gubitosi, for the creation of our Fallen Heroes Monument in Riley Park, a very meaningful tribute to honor our Bradley Beach heroes. Again, I'm speaking for Jane, but I think this is probably the sentiment of the entire council. I was particularly touched to hear of a resident who personally thanked Mayor Gubitosi for bringing joy back to Bradley Beach. I couldn't agree more. The joy you've brought to our community is greatly appreciated and felt by many. Your everyday efforts and collaborative spirit have made serving on the Bradley Beach Council truly an honor and a pleasure. Thank you, Mayor Gubitosi, for continuing to make Bradley Beach a truly caring community.
Well,
Here, here.
That concludes Jane DeNoble's report.
Wow, thank you, Council President and Councilwoman Greenblatt for reading it. And I think we have accomplished a lot. Thank you for putting it in writing. But I would only say that we've done it as a team, and I could not have done it without the rest of the group here. So thank you, all council members. Going on to the second half of the year and my report, we did, I guess first and foremost, I do also want to congratulate probationary officer Gianna Trini for becoming an official member of the force. That was exciting to have her family and friends here, and it's just great to see new blood coming into the police department. Also want to let people know, with the crazy torrential downpour that we've been experiencing most of the day, and certainly late in the day, I got a call from Biagio Capone at 5:30 from one of the lakes. I think he was at Fletcher Lake at that moment, but he's hit both Fletcher and Sylvan, trying to lower the lakes as tons and tons of rain hit us. And he's having some challenges. I think specifically he mentioned Sylvan Lake was the gate, which we are trying to repair. That repair probably won't take place until the fall. Well, the earliest. So we are, DPW is really working with a broken gate. And he was windswept and dripping wet and called me to say, just know, Mayor, we're doing everything we can. I subsequently got a text from someone down at Silver Lake telling us that the lake's rising. So Biagio is doing everything he can, and his team's doing everything they can to manage the lakes. But we're struggling with that, and hopefully we'll get a little break in the weather, and hopefully they'll get these gates functioning sufficiently. On June 27th, last Friday, we had a Maritime Forest celebration. Julie Schreck, the Maritime Forest is named in her honor. Her family members, 6 or 7 of them actually joined us. Her sister Rachel and her daughter Molly both spoke at the event, and it was very, we recognized part of the celebration. We added new signage that included Mayor Schreck's, a picture of her actually holding Molly, an infant Molly, could have been more than a few months old probably, in front of on the beach in front of the ocean. So a great picture for posterity. We've added that to 2 signs at the Maritime Forest. And Captain Al Majeski, who's been here from the beginning, he's a resident of town. Many of you may know him, but he works for American Littoral, a not-for-profit that does all kinds of environmental work. And Captain Al, along with Mayor Schreck, was instrumental in helping us convert a parking lot into what's now habitat for migrating birds and for all sorts of wildlife. So just a great resiliency story for Bradley Beach. We're one of the only maritime forests like this of its kind along the Jersey Shore. We believe, and the environmentalists, we've gotten national awards for this. Environmentalists believe that it will serve as a model for others to follow as we go forward. And then my final comment to all is, I'm told that by Senator Gopal, I can't officially announce this, but the senator, along with Assemblywoman Donlin and Peter Paul, have secured $100,000 of grant funding for the borough. So we will be using that very judiciously, but that was a wonderful surprise. We did not expect that. So just want to let that be known, and more to come in a following meeting in terms of how we will deploy those funds. But that concludes my report. Now I will open it to public comments or questions on anything you care to speak about. Any comments or questions? Ray, please.
I wasn't planning on saying anything tonight, but and I know I'm late. I didn't know what a ribbon driveway was. I don't know. I know you voted for it. I think a yes vote is not really getting you what you want. I'm going to tell you why. I see a ribbon driveway as a loophole for impervious surfaces, and I really don't believe that you could ever keep the grass growing between concrete, because during the summer, that concrete radiant heat will get to 125 and above. And so the grass will always die, and you're going to end up getting the dust that you don't want. So, you know, it's a day late, and now we're late and fell short, but, you know, I'm not really sure that was the decision that I think you want. I don't care. I don't have a ribbon driveway, and I wouldn't for long.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Mr. Coyne.
Mayor, Mr. Mayor, if I could respond, do you mind?
Go ahead, Councilman.
I mentioned, like, I've had a ribbon driveway on my property for close to 30 years, maybe more, I don't know. It's fine.
There are many examples of ribbon driveways with grass in the middle throughout the borough, but we are well aware of that as a potential concern. And you probably heard Councilman Nowicki reference earlier that we expect it to be watered as well. But it's a valid concern, no question. Who was I just acknowledging? Mr. Coyne.
Thomas J. Cohen. Yes, it's designed for flexibility of the applicant. We are seeing so many new houses. It's not really a loophole if it's done right. If they don't irrigate it and then remove the grass, it's a code violation. It'll be included in their site plan as to what they proposed, and I'd be happy to ride around other shore towns as well as Bradley Beach and show people the wonderful design flexibility and visual aesthetic that it does create. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Other comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll close public comment, and we will move to, I'll make a motion that we adjourn temporarily to go to executive session, and there will be no decisions made. Is there a second? Second.
Ms. DeNoble?
Yes.
Ms. Greenblatt?
Yes.
Mr. Nowicki?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Is somebody gonna call me or something? How are we doing this?
We'll call you, John.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Mayor Guzzi?
Yes. We expect to be retired for 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes. There will be no business conducted afterwards.